Welcome to the Penny Z Show, where you get to learn how real people overcame real issues. Get ready to take notes and, most importantly, take action. Here's your host, Penny Z. Hello, everyone. This is Penny Z with the Penny Z Show. We are focusing on transforming lives one life at a time with real, relevant, and relatable topics. As all of you know, in our series, we are talking about overcoming I'm not enough. We've all had that in our life in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a moment in time, a season, or for many of us, it might have been for a lot longer period of time. Today, I have just an amazing guest that I am so excited to be able to introduce to our listeners today. I actually first met Allison last August 2018 and one of her incredible business events in San Diego, the CEO Success Summit. And when I was there for her 3-day event, I knew I had to be a part of her just wonderful, successful, kind, motivational, and scaling business mentorship program. So she is, along with her team, one of my personal mentors and professional mentors. So let me do her justice and introduce Allison, and then we'll talk with Allison and find out a little bit more about her. First off, Allison first built her business at age 19 while she was still in college. By the time she was 25, she had grown her business into a full-service advertising and marketing firm with clients like Ben & Jerry, Supercuts, and Charlotte Russe. She was amazing at flying by the seat of her pants, bringing on and servicing new clients, but had no idea on how to build the logistics, the systems, or the team for the company. She had employees, but had no idea how to delegate, to be a leader, and was working 24 hours, 7 days a week. How many of us entrepreneurs understand that? She had no life whatsoever. She was working and then unfortunately had a terrible accident. But the accident was what helped wake her up and helped change her life. She had a 2-year-old daughter at the time, and she decided to walk away from a business and an unhappy marriage and spend the next year figuring out what she did right in business and what she did wrong. She also studied many of her Fortune 100 clients on how they were scaling their business and how they were living a meaningful life. Allison then built a blueprint for growth as well as scaling a business. She also then built and scaled 9 other businesses after that. Now, to pay it forward, Allison and her team share her many years of wisdom building and selling companies, and she supports business owners around the world with her private mentoring and mastermind programs. Allison is the CEO and founder of Pinnacle Global Network. She is also very humble. She has 2 books. And her Scale to Fail book is a New York Times bestseller that launched this last year. So please welcome with me my special guest, Allison Masian. Allison?
Oh, Penny, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's just amazing to have you here. I'm so excited. Is there anything you would like to add that perhaps I didn't share with our audience and listeners that they should know a little bit about you before we get into your story?
Well, I was sitting here thinking, have done such a good job of sharing my story better than I could have. So thank you very much for that. It's definitely been a journey. And I know that, we're kind of talking about how to overcome adversity on this interview today. And I think sometimes you hear that story and think, oh, well, building 9 businesses, but there's been a lot of ups and downs along the way. And I'm actually, at the time when you're in that moment of adversity, you might think, oh, why is this happening? But as you look back on your life and as you share the story, I'm so grateful actually for going through all that because it's made me who I am today.
Yeah, I agree 100%, as we all learn. And I think we learn by obviously getting older and experiences. A lot of times for me, I will have to say, and many other people may feel this way, we don't want to share our failures or admit them because it shows a sign of weakness. And yet really what I'm learning in talking with individuals like you and the successful individuals, both personally and professionally, it really is those valleys and, going through those challenges that you really learn. I mean, Walt Disney had, how many times was he told no before he actually was able to build Disney World? And thank goodness he was. And so I think that even though we do have, and I do try to promote both men and women on the show that are highly successful personally and professionally, it's really the story behind that story that I love to share, so that people know that we're real and that we have real challenges. And so do you have something that you remember from your past? Obviously you had a car accident, which was huge in your past, but is there a story that you would like to share with our listeners about kind of overcoming and feeling not good enough, and then who was involved, what did it look like, and how did you overcome that?
Oh my gosh, I have so many of those stories, Penny. There isn't just one, because I was super shy as a kid, and in fact, terrified to stand in front of the classroom, or much less be up on a stage, which I do now, and leading events and our masterminds and so forth. I was very soft-spoken. In fact, I heard a lot of times people would say, "Allison, speak up. We can't hear you," and I was terrified even to, ask people if I could come speak. And to the point where one time I had so much anxiety around it. I was going to speak at an event, like at a grocery store. I was speaking about homeopathic medicine, which was one of the businesses that I had. And I asked my boyfriend, who was with me at the time, I said, "You have to turn around and face the other way. Because if I look at you, I'm either going to totally panic, or I'm going to be so nervous, I'm going to start laughing hysterically and just blow my talk." So he did. He sat there completely faced. I knew he was there, which was nice support, but I was looking at his back the entire time. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many of those stories. Even when I was younger, I was pigeon-toed. And in fact, if I have more than one cocktail, even my right foot will kind of start going inward a little bit. And I was like the slowest runner. I like won the slowest runner of the 50-yard dash in my whole school. And so kids would tease me about that. It would be like, "Oh, who's going to have Maslin on their team?"
Yeah.
So I overcame that by becoming a gymnast, and, winning state championship, and then, as an adult, becoming a trapeze artist. And so I still have the little pigeon toe thing, but, I think sometimes those are the things, if we can learn to embrace them instead of fight them, they're the things that can separate us.
Absolutely. I want to ask you, because I know that a lot of listeners have the shy gene. I am definitely one of them. I'm much more introverted than most people think, because I call myself an introvert with extroverted tendencies. I am very social, and I do like meeting people, but I understand the shy card. And one of the things, I think we haven't actually talked about that on the Penny Z show, and I find it fascinating. There's so many different pieces of the pie. In addition to having your boyfriend, sit there, was there anything else that you did, whether you were young or as you went up, to kind of help you get over that, or at least be able to speak in front of people, because you do it so eloquently, and I've been to, your events. And so what would you recommend to someone who has the shy gene, to be able to give them a tool or technique that you use to be able to kind of overcome that for them?
Yeah. So, I mean, just to give you the extent of it, when my first book came out 10 years ago, Blast Off, I was, I needed to make some videos around that. So I remember the video team standing there, and they'd say, "Okay, say this." And I'd go, "Okay, I've got it." And then they would be rolling, and I would look at them like a deer in the headlights. I couldn't remember one line. And now I do videos all day long. And so I think the transition for me was, number one, keep doing it, even if they're really bad. And heard me say, don't worry, be crappy.
Yeah, yes.
Don't worry, be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was the key. I mean, some of them were so bad, Penny. Like I did a speech once where I just saw my husband in the back of the room with his head in his hands, like, oh my God, you know, this is painful to watch. But I just, as uncomfortable and actually like unfun at first it was, I felt like I have a message to share that's really important to me. And am I going to allow this fear to keep me small or hold me back? And so it was just a matter of repetition over and over and over and over. And in fact, doing my show, Allie and You, which started back in 2011, before we even really knew podcasting, having to just stare at a camera and talk for an hour helped me a lot to just, there's a breakthrough that happens where you're delivering a speech, and on the other side of that line is, I'm just being Allison. And when I was able to just be myself, then I could relax and ad lib and so forth. But to deliver a speech, I do still to this day, I practice and practice and practice. I do it over and over and over to the point my husband could get up and deliver it because he's heard it so much. And once I really get it and I'm, you know, on point, then I can relax and I don't have to say it word for word. I can, you know, ad lib or drop some humor in there or respond to somebody in the audience. Absolutely. But, you know, I'm definitely not one of those people that just wing it.
Yeah, there's definitely people that have that talent, but I agree with you. Practice, practice, practice. And, you know, if you look at even other aspects, other industries, whether it's sports industry and, you know, sales or whatnot, you really do. It's about practicing. And so if you're shy and if that's one of the traits that you have or something else, just get out there saying hi. You could start off just every day going out the door and saying hi to a neighbor or saying hi to somebody at school or somebody at business, and just practice a trait till you get to where then you can start having a conversation and then you can start doing a presentation. So that is, I love that. That's great wisdom, because practice, practice, practice definitely is very important. And it's something that I would agree with you and that I've done over my years. And I'm actually in the process as well of kind of pivoting my career and getting back out to do motivational speaking, because I have a calling as well. And I have to admit, I'm a little nervous too, because I haven't been on the bike for a while. So I'll be practicing as well when I'm getting ready to do some motivational speaking and helping people in the world. So thank you for those tools and tips.
Yeah, you will rock it for sure.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I would like to ask is, you shared about obviously your shyness and all the success that you've had. Who was involved? Was there anyone involved in your youth that really helped encourage you, not only from a personal growth and you know, positive affirmation, but also helping coach you or mentor in business? Because I find that, you know, there's many people that don't have that in our childhood, unfortunately. And I feel like you did. So I'd like you to share a little bit with our audience on people that were influential in your upbringing.
You know, I had several people, and of course then went on and hired a business coach, and I'll tell you about that. But, you know, starting out, my dad was a huge influence in my life because he was a consummate entrepreneur and built 50 locations of his women's fashion stores. And so I definitely, just through osmosis, being around him, I got the message that if you want something, go create it yourself. Mm-hmm. And then there were teachers, you know, that were super encouraging. Like, I love to write, and I had a teacher named was Miss Chappelle, and she was my English teacher, and she would really encourage me to write poetry. Same thing in college. Rita Dove, who was also the poet laureate of the U.S. Congress. She became after she was my poetry teacher, which, you know, I think writing has been a big part of the work that I do, and creating content and so forth. In business, I ended up hiring a business coach early in my business career, and I am so grateful for that because, you know, well, obviously, there's so many things even to this day after 35 years of business that I don't know. You know, every day is a new challenge. There's a saying, new level, new devil. And I think sometimes we feel like, well, I know my business. Yeah, you know it the way you've been looking at it every day for years, and you don't see the missing opportunities. And so by having that business coach, who I worked with early, you know, for about 20 years, and his name was Mark LeBlanc, and still a dear friend to this day. And he was one of the first ones to encourage me to write a book and get out and speak. Just helped me to, you know, think through and make good decisions, you know, brainstorm, weighed pros and cons, looked at things in a new light. He also helped me sell the first business that I sold, and which was was actually the second business I sold. The first one, I didn't know what I was doing and kind of didn't make the right decisions. And then I sold the homeopathic school that I built in 2005, and he helped me through that entire process. So, you know, it just saved me years of going the wrong direction, and, you know, helped me make millions of dollars, and by, you know, in a much shorter period of time. Super great.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's actually a great segue, because I agree. I think having a mentor, a business coach, and a personal life coach is so important. You know, many of us think we don't need it, but we really sure we need it, and we want it, and it helps us just with our mindset shifts. Like you said, kind of thinking outside of the box, looking at it, having different perspectives. And I'm really blessed to be a part of Pinnacle Global Network. I have an incredible team of mentors, but I'm also part of, you know, a smaller group. So we get to kind of mastermind and help each other out with our own business ideas and thoughts and questions. And so that's so vital. So share with us a little bit about your company, what you do, what you offer, and how you can make a difference to other people's lives.
Yeah, so when it came time for me, so being a serial entrepreneur, like many business owners, we love the idea and this, you know, the shiny new object and so forth. And I had come to a time where, all right, it's time for that next move. And I wasn't sure the direction I was going to go. I even considered opening a restaurant with a friend of mine who has had a show on a food network and so forth. So this is pre-Pinnacle. And then, you know, really people had been asking for several years, Allison, how did you run your businesses? How did you build your businesses? And I thought, okay, I'm going to really explore this journey in helping people to start a business, and research the industry, and really found that a lot of the people that were doing business coaching had just gotten a certificate and really hadn't had the years of business experience I'd had. Not to say they aren't fantastic at what they do, but for me, I thought, if I'm going to work with a business coach, I want to work with someone that's been there and done it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I decided to embark on this journey, and we launched Pinnacle Global Network. We're going into our 9th year. And in the beginning, it was just me and, you know, one other coach. And now we have a team of 9 business mentors who have all run very successful companies, scaled companies, sold companies. And we have about 150 Pinnacle members in our community from all over the country, even in Australia. And we've had business owners in London. And like you were saying, I mean, we really hold the hand of our business owners, help guide them, help to strategize their success, help them to create their big vision in their business, and just make sure that they're not zigzagging and veering off the path, that we make it more of a straight shoot. And it's just so rewarding to help people make their dreams come true. Now we mainly work with people that have a business already, that are taking it to that next level instead of helping them start businesses. But we have people that have been with us for now 7 years. So it's like we're there for them for the life of their business.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I've met several of those people at your events. So I know you have 2 events a year, as well as opportunities for people to contact you and your mentorship team. How should our listeners get in touch with you, Allison?
Well, thank you. And we do have 2 big events. We have one coming up in August called the Scale Event. But all the information, the best place to go is just AllisonMasian.com. And if you have a question directly and you want to email us, just go to support@AllisonMasian.com, or either myself or someone on my team is happy to answer any questions that you have, even just give you some direction on your business.
Absolutely. Well, as many of you know, I'm so excited to have Allison. She is an incredible business mentor, successful CEO. She has 2 books out there. Her most recent one, Scale or Fail, you can get on Amazon as well as buying in Barnes and Noble. So I encourage all of you, I've read through it. It's got some amazing tools and techniques to help you with your business and scaling and moving you up to that next level. So Allison, before we end today, is there any words of wisdom, anything else you would like to share personally or professionally with our listeners that you would like to leave them with?
Now, there's a couple things, Penny, that I feel would be helpful for people to remember. That's been helpful for me. One is make decisions from where you're going, not from where you're at. And what I mean by that is most people get frustrated because they're not moving fast enough. And generally it's because they're making decisions from what they're looking at, what they feel their current reality is. And if their current reality is that, they're in a place of struggle, they're not in the financial place they want to be, and, they want to get to this higher level, their choices are limited. In their own reality, their choices are limited. The truth is there is abundance everywhere. And there's opportunities right at their feet. So what I recommend is visualize, pretend that you're where you want to be already. Pretend it's already happened, even if it's, just the biggest dream you could possibly imagine. And if you were there right now, what are the decisions that you would make? Who would you call? Who would you pick up the phone and reach? Who would you surround yourself with? What are the moves that you would make? And you would be surprised when you operate from that place, even if you have to play a little game of imagination in your mind, everything is going to elevate so much faster. So make decisions from where you're going, not from where you're at. And then the last thing I would say is put your head towards your dream and walk towards it every single day, and don't let anyone tell you it can't be done.
Absolutely. I want to thank you very much, because I know you have a blueprint for going forward. And I call it the vision board, the blueprint. And I'm actually in the process of redoing that, because I did it for 2018 when I joined your team. And so I'm actually pivoting, since I just recently moved to Las Vegas, and changing my vision board and changing my future goals, figuring out who I need to meet, where I need to be, how I can help and be a go-giver in our world. So I want to thank you for having that, because that's helped me with my visioning and my future direction, and helping others as well. So definitely great words of wisdom. Allison, it's been such a pleasure, and I'm so honored for you giving your time, your talent, and your wisdom today. Thank you so much, and thank you for being on the Penny Z Show.
Thanks for having me, Penny. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. We will have Allison Maslin's information on our website at www.thepennyzshow.com and all of our social media. Look forward to not only having her in the future, but all the great success that all of you have gotten from her wonderful wisdom. Thanks again and have a great day.
Thank you so much for listening. If you want to hear more, including specific ways to empower yourself, go to thepennyzshow.com.